Well, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Doc. It's Wednesday morning, the first day of September, and glad you're with us today. We're praying for all of those who were affected by Hurricane Ida, and if you're still getting rain from that, we'll be praying with you. Uh, we've been talking here in Joshua chapter 10, and we've been talking about uh, the conquest of Israel by Joshua and his army, and how God was in it every step of the way, from giving them a strategy to even raining down hailstones upon some and killing them with the hailstones. More, it says, than the soldiers of Joshua's armies killed. And we saw how, as they did that, that they were ruthless in dealing with the people against whom they were fighting. The enemies of the Christian are spiritual, and they will always be there. And that's the symbol that we're looking at here when we look at the nation of Israel and their conquest of the land. It's a parallel to the Christian life and our walking in faith and walking in victory. And we said that just like they had three things that they needed, we have three things in our Christian life that we need. And the first thing we looked at yesterday was we need an anchor point. For them, it was the base camp of Gilgal, and that's where Joshua kept going back and going back and going back. For us, it's the cross, and we go back and back to the cross where the blood was shed for us, and we can run to it and lean on it and find rest and strength there. So that's the first thing they had to do. They needed an anchor point, which was Gilgal for them, and the cross for us. Secondly, we need to claim victory over sin. You see, God had told Joshua, I'm giving this land to you, and I'm gonna run out and destroy every king before you. Now you're gonna have to go in and possess the land. But I'm telling you, there's a victory here. And the symbolic victory was when he brought the five kings out of the cave, and they were humiliated in public. Now you may ask, why were the kings humiliated in public? That doesn't sound like a good thing to do. Well, reason number one, in order that the whole army of Israel might know that it was God who gave them the victory. In other words, there was not going to be any question about who is responsible for this. God brought these kings to you. You didn't do anything. They ran into the cave on their own, of course, with God's direction. But they ran into the cave, and all you did was find them in a hole, much like we found some of the other terrorists in a hole. The whole army of Israel needed to know that it was God who gave them the victory. So they paraded out these five kings that they didn't do one thing to imprison them. They went in the cave of their own volition. And all these guys did is when they found them, they rolled rocks against it. So now the whole army of Israel knows that it was God who gave them the victory. And folks, every day in our life as believers, we need to understand that it's God and God alone that gives us the victory against our enemies in the Christian life. Now, the second thing that happened is they needed to know that the victory must be personally appropriated. Now, all through Joshua chapter 10, God was saying to the army of Israel, you have to fight. You must fight. For those 2.5 tribes that said, we don't want to cross over, we want to stay where we are. He said, that's all right, but your fighting men have to go over and fight. The victory that's in our Christian life that God has won for us, we have to appropriate it. We have to personalize it. We have to make it ours. We have to claim it. Our victory over sin. And that's what they were doing by putting their feet on the necks of these guys. And you're going to have to put your foot on the neck of whatever sin is warring against you. You can't treat it lightly. You can't negotiate with it. You can't say, well, it'll suddenly go away. And it doesn't matter, whatever it is, you got to put your foot on the neck of it. It may be jealousy. It may be pride. It may be a critical spirit. It may be a harsh tongue. Oh, none of you have that. You thought I was going to talk about drinking and that. No, 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 no. The things that bother us the most are the things that society, culture, probably wouldn't say is wrong. But when God points it out as a sin, you're going to have to put your foot on the neck of that sin. You see, sin will hide in the caves of your life, and it, just like these kings, and it will jump out when you least expect it. So you know what you have to do? You have to drag it out. You have to confess it. You have to deal with it. You have to put your foot on the neck of sin, and then you need to put it to death. That's personally appropriating the victory over sin that Jesus has obtained with his blood on the cross. What sin do you need to put your foot on the neck of today and claim victory and put it to death? Whatever God's Spirit, God's Holy Spirit, who is the revealer, when he reveals it to you, he's also the one who gives you the power to put your foot on his neck and then put it to death. God bless you. Have a great day. We'll see you in the morning, Thursday morning, and we're going to talk about a little more about dealing with sin ruthlessly. Let's talk about it tomorrow. God bless you. Have a great day today.